All right. Good morning, or say good afternoon. Wow, already good afternoon here on the East Coast. Good morning on the West Coast. I'm your host, Brandon Troy, host and co-creator of Movers and Shakers Unlimited. Thanks so much for joining us. As I said, this afternoon on the East Coast, this morning on the West Coast, and of course, as always, I am joined by.
Jerome Bourgeois, co-creator of Movers and Shakers Unlimited. What's up? How's everything?
What's going on? What's going on? So, as you guys know, every single week we do this week in review. It's not going to be an extremely long show today. It's going to be relatively brief, talking about a couple of stories that made the rounds. Just to hit the ground running, just as a reminder, don't forget that make sure that you like and subscribe. If you enjoy these videos and many of the other ones that we do, it helps us out a great deal. So make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. And of course, give us a thumbs up if you enjoy the video as well. Now, with that being said, also for any of the talking points that we discussed today, or even perhaps some that you want to discuss further, even after the show is over. Don't forget that we have the hashtag TWNRMNSU. So that's This Week in Review at Movers and Shakers Unlimited. All right, so Jerome, as I said, this is going to be a relatively quick show, and I know there were a couple of things that we wanted to discuss before we called it a wrap today. So to hit the ground running, I wanted to start first with a story regarding writer director Kevin Smith. Apparently, there is a film that he has going that he will be selling as an NFT. Excuse me. So it's kind of jumps off or continues the story that we were talking about previously about NFTs. So, what are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, I just thought it was pretty cool because NFT, like we said last time, stands for non-fungible token. Just give you a brief recap of what it is. It's basically it's a new space in the crypto world where you can sell art, like say a trading card or anything like that, and you can authenticate it through blockchain technology. So by doing that, um, when you can prove to people, oh, this is the original version, or it's authenticated, and then the artist who creates that and then they sell it to someone else. Basically, that other person could sell it and make money, but then the original artist through blockchain technology can still get a cut of all those other sales. So that's why it's pretty good. Like your asset lives longer. Your artistic asset, I guess you could say, and this in this case is digital asset, can live longer. You can reap the benefits through royalties in the long term as well in the short term. But what was cool about this article, I thought why we should share it is he's Kevin Smith he's doing this with a film that he created. So he's going to be the owner of this film called Kilroy Was Here. It's a feature anthology. And then whoever buys it, they'll be able to secure the rights to exhibit, distribute, and stream the work. And then that person, can earn money with that, or sell it, or do whatever they're going to do. But he's still going to get a cut of that. So it's just it's interesting, applying a film to this model. And this is an independent way of doing this. So he's indie. He started off as an indie filmmaker. I mean, so it's cool seeing someone like Kevin Smith doing this. So I'm sure based on the success of this or how this works out, you're gonna see more, other filmmakers do the same thing. But also, in addition to that, I know that they Kevin Smith, he also created. It says in the article, he created a Jane Silent Bob's crypto studio. So it's an NFT gallery showcasing and selling art featuring the cult movie stoner duo. But what's cool about that is I think they're using that as a platform also, for other artists to also use it. So he's trying to he's trying to find other ways to also help other filmmakers too. So it seems like it's he's trying to give other people opportunities. So I thought that's always good to share. So we'll see how this goes, but I think it's a new way to distribute independent film. So
For sure. And I was going to say, good on him to, have tried to think outside the box. It's always awesome where for any artist to find out, other venues or other platforms to utilize, and always great to be, lo and behold, the title that we have for our show, a mover and a shaker of being able to be an innovator and, look ahead as to some platforms that might be utilized for content. So that's always interesting where someone is looking ahead and thinking ahead of what might be some ways that people are consuming their content or getting their content, because you never really know if it's going to go one way or another. But in taking that risk, sometimes you need to take that risk to be able to reap the reward further down the line. So
And also I'll
good on
say,
him.
like, because also, yeah, and also it seems like in addition to just the movie that he's making, like, here it's, it, there's obviously memorabilia from his other films and stuff like that, like, that he could actually sell this way too, and it's valuable to someone. Like, there's a lot of fans of his work, so if you can do that, so think about it, if you're an independent filmmaker, you could sell your movie, um, through, as if it's either through NFT or just whatever channel. But then say it does get some sort of notoriety, some sort of, you find an audience, then you can make extra. You could supplement your revenue with merchandise or whatever, or make parts of that film that were that could be memorable or valuable, that people would actually want to purchase as a NFT, and then continue to reap, like I said, the benefits from that. So that's kind of what he's doing too, because it's like, um, what is it? They said, because the first job, they says a Kilroy teaser NFT, which showcases 3D comic book and actual footage for the first ever movie sold as an NFT. And then they're also going to be releasing, what is it? Let's see, yeah, stuff in conjunction with heavy metal, Dylan McDermott, Mark Anthony. So I mean, um, yeah, it's a block, and also, yeah, he's working with was it he's calling it Phantasma, which is also something also Smith is working with as a blockchain for content distribution of NFTs, gaming, and dApps, and it's fast and secure and decentralized. That's what so. And they're saying these are smoking tokens. I mean, so it all fits his brand. So I just think that's really cool. So I definitely would like to see how this turns out. So
For sure, for sure. So switching gears, next story that I wanted to get into was one that I suppose for you, Jerome, is far closer to you than it is to me, because I know you've attended this event, which is the White House Correspondence Dinner. So news has dropped that this year there will not be an edition of the White House Correspondence Dinner. So, as someone who has been there, many years, what are your thoughts on that, Jerome?
I mean, this is really no surprise. I mean,
I mean, it's not a shocker
I was
considering.
hoping that we were gonna have, a possibility. I thought they were gonna maybe push it back, but yeah, this is the first time, the second year in a row, obviously because of the pandemic and everything. Um, but yeah, this is always like, I mean, we're based in DC, the DC area. This is like one of the biggest events, or if not, you could say the biggest entertainment event in this area. I mean, at least throughout I started going throughout the Obama administration in 2013, and it was, I mean, the parties are crazy, and it's the one time where you'll get actors, filmmakers, athletes, politicians, pretty much people in all walks of entertainment. It's like entertainment, sports, politics, entrepreneurs, all coming to the same event. And it's funny. Oh yeah, of course, news people. That's what the focus is on. And a lot of them, they're getting in because like different outlets, they have extra tickets that they give out to celebrities that they want to um, to attend. And you get all these crazy parties, these events. And one thing I liked about it, in addition to obviously it's good, it's highlighting the First Amendment, and of course the president is usually there. In the last 4 years, with Trump, he never attended, so it was kind of different. It wasn't as big of a spotlight, but people try to make it come back to focus more on the journalists, and because they give out scholarships to journalists, upcoming journalists, and it's about protecting the First Amendment. Um, but what was good for like some people, when it comes to being on the red carpet or interviewing people, it's one of the few places where you can get access to all these really big people that you wouldn't maybe normally do at like a premiere or whatever, because they're all guests. They're all coming to see the president or whatever. So they're just guests. They're just happy to be invited. So yeah, it's sad that didn't happen again this year, but you know, I'm hoping next year. They're saying next year it's going to come back April 30th. So I'm looking forward to that. But yeah, real bummer because that's something that's it's a really good time, good event to get interviews and some good coverage.
For sure, for sure. Now to jump off of that, it's a great segue into our next story, which deals with a trend that we may start to see shift as the days, as the months go on, and we have obviously more and more folks getting vaccinated. It looks like we might see a return of the red carpet. In a story, let's see, let me pull it up. In a story that we have out of Deadline, or should say not Deadline, I'm sorry, in Variety, excuse me, that thanks to an event that's going to be done for the series Pose, that we might actually start to see a return of the red carpet. So, Jerome, if you want to talk further about this.
Yeah, no, it's hilarious segue, red carpet stuff. But no, this is something that definitely. I mean, okay, maybe it pertains to us specifically because Brandon and I cover a lot of events, and I mean, there's some amazing events here, not only here but all over, and it's funny. It's kind of been like hit or miss, kind of bittersweet because I mean, of course we're still doing interviews now, but nothing could beat that live experience of actually interviewing people and just being there. And I just miss that. I know we haven't been doing that.
Oh no, and I miss that dynamic too. A lot of times we'll go to film festivals, and be on the lookout. As things get back to normal, we have we're going to be changing and mixing things up a bit in terms of how we do coverage. So you're going to be seeing a lot more BTS behind the scenes stuff of what goes down when we're doing a lot of that coverage. So that's exciting. It should be interesting for you guys to check out. Be on the lookout for that. But yeah, like when it comes to like film festivals, a couple of film festivals come immediately to mind, and you probably know exactly where I'm getting at. Where you have media meet areas, and you have media hangout areas where you're able to connect with guests, but you're also able to converse and to mingle with just other journalists and networks. So it's I miss it myself. It's pretty awesome.
But but just adding on with the story, what caught my eye with this story I thought was interesting is like, is this going to be the new normal at least for the near future? Because what they're doing at this, how they're constructing the whole red carpet media access portion is they're saying interviews are going to be conducted. Well, first of all, they're limiting obviously how many people are going to be there, but there's going to be it says it's going to be a 200-foot red carpet for socially distanced media outlets. So the interviews are going to be conducted with 8 feet between talent and journalists, and then plexiglass partitions will be placed between photographers. So that's what caught my eye because I'm like, I'm not. Of course, people got to be safe. I get it. They got to take precautions, but I'm just wondering how long that will continue because, man, that's definitely gonna change the dynamic being on a red carpet trying to interview people. I know they're saying for photographers, but I'm wondering if they also mean like actual journalists or correspondents because I mean I don't see what's much of a difference if you're gonna. And the thing is, how do they really like control that? Because I know too, Brandon. You can speak on this also. People always try to have, there's signed spots, but they don't always stay there. And then you get people coming out of nowhere. Some people have like, it might just be one person.
No comment.
But they might have 3 people. I remember once. Okay, I'll say
right.
Goes back to what correspondence. It was me, just one correspondent. But then you have someone else. It was like 2 of them. It was 2. Okay, it was like 2 hosts and one camera. And then we found out like they had like they had 2 other people, and I was like, what are these other people doing? And they're like, one person's producer. I was like, this is talent. This is the camera guy. This is producer. And then she's taking notes. And we're like, it's like, how many people do you need on the red carpet to interview people? So I'm just wondering how they're going to control that, because, I mean, unless you actually have partitions and you have someone watching that, like, people are just going to still be all over the place. And I think because a lot of people just want to get the interview of whoever they're trying to get an interview of, they're going to, like, just do whatever they have to do to get that interview. So I wonder if they're going to start kicking people out if they're like not staying in their space. So
yeah, for sure.
I'm just curious about it. I just thought it was interesting. So, but it's good at least they're trying. It's good to see these examples to see what people are doing, what's the reaction, how does it go, how does it actually, play out, and then what adjustments are going to be made to move forward. So that's what I thought.
Definitely, definitely.
For sure.
And as you just said, like there's red carpet events are already chaotic, can be chaotic as it is. So to place the limitations that you're placing on it, you might as well just until you're ready to do it at a full capacity, just hold off on it because like just as you said, there are immediate instances of mine where uh things don't always go according to plan. And, you know, um, because a lot of journalists are, uh, uh, very eager to speak to a particular guest, or they really are trying to um, get that opportunity to, it may be a couple of guests, it may be that one specific person that they're trying to speak to, that specific creative, whether it's a writer, producer, what have you. Um, like I said, there's so many moving parts that are happening on the red carpet in its normal circumstances, and to have all of that added as additional additional things to keep in mind or to consider. Uh, in my opinion, I feel like you might as well just hold off until you can do it at 100%, because I feel it's going to be even far more chaotic by trying to limit it on
I
top
just
of what you normally would deal with.
I just remembered also, like, what are they? So what? Remember, like, like some of the really big A-listers, if they can't do an interview with individual people, you'll have a whole bunch of people all
Yeah,
together.
yeah, they'll
How is that
pair
gonna?
pair them
Yeah, how's
together.
that
Yeah,
gonna work? Are the
exactly.
PR people gonna force them to be like, no, no, you gotta do? Or they just gonna be selected and like only these two people? Because I remember that's the only way you would get a soundbite. Sometimes if they didn't come to you, you'd have like they talk to like one person or three people, and
And,
then
and
you
it's
have
I
like
mean it's also because of
seven
like
calls.
time. Like I get it. Like there's such a limited amount of time that they can do with a lot of these red carpets. So on occasion, just like you said, they will bunch outlets together to get
Exactly.
in one or two questions. So yeah, again, like I said, like there are too many
I
variables
want
to
to see
think
that. I
about.
want to see. I want to see how they handle that.
There are
Handle
already
that.
variables to think about when you're dealing with it in its complete capacity. In thinking of how they're going to do it in a limited capacity, like I said, I don't even think that it's even worth it. They might as well continue doing it the virtual way that has been done over the past year, because I mean they technically do that anyway. With there's some instances that I've heard of where they'll do a press conference virtually. So like just like you would
Oh
go
yeah.
to a regular press conference where you have like the entire cast, you'll have some reps from certain outlets to provide their questions. So I mean, it's not, if you're going to do it that way, why not just do it virtually instead of taking the risk of doing it in person. So again, like my stance is wait till it gets back to normal. Wait till people are all, we're in a position where folks are safe. Not to say that they aren't now, but let's not mess up that momentum that we have right now, where we're getting back to a state of normalcy, and let's not mess that up. Let's allow that momentum to continue, so that way we can get back to normal. That way we can get back to our festivals. We can get back to our cons, all the events that we all love, everyone. So, any other final thoughts before I move on?
Yeah. No, I'm just curious to see how this turns out. I really want to see, like, I just want to see the behind the scenes footage, or like if someone's shooting like the press, and see how that looks. I just want to see how it turns out, and like I'd be curious to ask, or talk to some of those outlets that actually are there, and be like, yeah, how was it? Or did you get anything?
Yeah,
Would it
right.
have been better if you just got a virtual interview? You know what I'm saying? So it's like, are you really, would you probably have gotten a better quality interview? So I don't know.
Exactly.
I
Exactly.
really, I'm just curious. I'm just, because it's like, I mean, that's basically why the White House correspondence dinner, they canceled their event today, because they're like, there's no way they could do an indoor event without, properly. So they just said, we're not doing it this year. So it is what it is.
All right. So to close everything off, guys, as you know, this week we had a drop of a trailer of a franchise that is close to my heart, no matter how ridiculous it gets. Um, Fast Nine. So we
Yes.
had so we had the trailer, a new trailer drop this week where we had, gosh, we had what? We had to look at some characters from let me see. We had some characters from Tokyo Drift. We had some characters. So we had, what is it, Drift King, and I'm brain farting about on the character that Bow Wow played.
Okay, I guess I have to watch it again.
Yeah, it's been a while.
Because
But
he's in it though. Yeah, the dude,
yeah,
the main guy.
they're
Yeah.
both in
Okay,
it. Like Drift
wait, Lucas
King.
Black and the other. I think Lucas Black's in it too, right? Yeah. He's in it.
Yeah, Lucas Black, because they had a scene real quick at the top of the trailer where they showed
I'm gonna
both
have
of
to watch.
them. Yeah,
Yeah.
they showed both those two characters from Tokyo Drift. And if you guys remember, like they did allude to that connection, not only at the end of that individual film, but they in connecting the timeline of the franchise thus far with Han and everybody. They actually had an additional scene that followed what transpired at the end of Tokyo Drift to show like an additional interaction between Drift King and Dom. So it looks like they have a fleshed out part this go around where they're actually going to be able to interact with some of the other characters and do a few other things. Of course, we have the return of Charlize Theron's. I believe her name was what, Cypher.
Yeah, I
I
think
believe
that
it
was.
was Cypher. So she's making a return, which is cool. Of course, I would be remiss if I didn't drop Dom's brother. I don't know how they're gonna do that.
Oh my goodness, it's
I don't know how
just.
they're gonna do that with John Cena. Maybe they'll try to explain that he's like the spiritual, brother of Dom. Perhaps he's been. I know one thing
Maybe he's a
that's
half brother.
half
Maybe
brother, maybe raised by the
maybe somebody
family.
did. Yeah, maybe who knows?
So like, figuratively they're brothers, but not literally. Hopefully they're able to, flesh that out further. You guys can drop it off in comments. I believe they have dropped if it will be biological siblings. I and I believe it's been quoted that maybe it will be what I just said as the latter, where perhaps he was raised by the Torettos, whatever the case may be. At this point, as ridiculous as Fast and Furious and that franchise has
That's not
gotten,
as ridiculous.
it's not really at the end of the day not that all that important. It's really just about enjoying how crazy and ridiculous and how much the franchise has continued to escalate. There've been so many jokes about it going into space, and at the end of this trailer,
That's
we
the
get a
part
tease of it that they may indeed actually go to
and
space.
they're gonna race some Martians or something. The
So,
next one, I'm telling you, man. Fast 10, Mission
geez,
to
I don't
Mars.
know, man. I don't know.
Get your ass
So,
to Mars. You know what I'm saying?
craziness. With what we have, the moment that we have to close in that trailer. Definitely. But with that being said, I know you had a chance to see the trailer. What are your like just general impressions?
No, I mean it definitely looks. It still looks interesting or whatever. I'm just like, I mean, okay, yeah, Han, like he's he's sniping people. You're like, oh wow, he's got some extra training now. I just love. It's just funny seeing the progression. It's like these guys, most of them were they're just thieves and they drove fast cars to like, okay, now we're high end. We could drive like anything and pull off these really big heists. And then it's like, okay, you're working with the government, and then now everyone can use weapons or whatever. And it's like now they're like assassins. I mean, and then now, hey, I mean, I'm probably working with NASA at the end of this. I mean, we don't know, but yeah, I mean, look, I remember Vin Diesel. He said before he said it was supposed to go up to 10. Now they're saying it's going to be up to 11. I think it's supposed to be the last one. And then you have these. Obviously, they're going to do the spinoffs. Continue with the spinoffs.
So my understanding is
That's what I heard.
technically it is still going to be 10, but
I heard 11. I heard this was.
well, no. Here's my thing. So it technically is going to be 10, I guess, story thread wise, but they're going to make the last film into two parts. So technically, yeah, it's 11 films, but in terms of like the through line of
But
like
still, whatever.
one film to the other, it'll be
It's true.
10.
Kill Bill was one movie, but it's whatever. It was two, you know.
So yes, being technical, 11.
But yeah, well, that's what they said. That's what I remember. But anyway, yeah, for me, I just hope that they. I mean, like, because I feel like I feel like the last one got better, kind of got better with certain things. Like they kind of didn't go as ridiculous, even though there were still obviously there's still ridiculous things no matter what. But like I said, like story, like my thing is, it's like even if you're gonna do the
That sub
ridiculous
wasn't
stuff,
ridiculous. That was ridiculous.
which one? Oh,
The sub, that was
no,
ridiculous.
but that's like that's I can forgive stuff like that because whatever that they're making stuff support that. So I'm just talking about like story wise, like the only issue I have with franchises now because I love how they took the turn into like being a Ocean's 11 type franchise because it went from just a Point Break ripoff with cars to now it's like a heist film to now it's like they're working with the government and it's like spy slash or whatever specialist slash thief slash there's espionage now or whatever sort of in it but no I just didn't like only thing I just didn't like is how it's still maybe Justin Lin can clean this up better. I don't know. We'll see how Han fits in the story. Like if that really he survived somehow or he didn't. But I just don't like the whole Saw. Like I was telling you, the whole Saw approach where it's like you know what happened. They tell you what happened in the first movie or whatever, and then maybe the second movie. Okay, they give you a little bit of explanation. But then it's like they kept making sequels, and because because the Saw franchise kept making money. And okay, well that franchise is really cheap. They kept making sequels after the fact that hey, this movie did well. It was really didn't cost that much, and now we're gonna figure out a way to connect this sequel to the past. And like after a while, it just got ridiculous. I feel like Fast and Furious is kind of doing that, but maybe they're gonna correct certain things, Because I mean, look, I thought it was terrible. It sucked that Han died. You got to know him in the third one, and then you got to they really got to discover how he was before, and that was cool. With those 4, 5, and 6 being like being prequels,
right?
So the third one, but it's like you lose the impact, when the guys, no one dies. Like it's the same with like Marvel or whatever. It's like even though MCUs they're gonna be going all these different directions, like if Tony Stark comes back and he's just not dead, it's like all that stuff that happened in the franchise.
Honestly, that's not the thing that irritates me the
it.
most. The thing that irritates me the most about this franchise, and I mean, it is what it is. It's just a trope that's been going on for a while, for the last couple of installments, is other outside of people coming back to life and returning, which has happened a couple of times with some characters. I've kind of just like disregarded it at this point. One thing that is kind of irritating and kind of takes like the not even just the suspension of disbelief, but more so the stakes, is when a villain becomes an ally.
Yeah,
that has happened multiple times.
That is true. That's the issue.
That irritates me more than characters coming back. Because I promise you, by the end of this movie, Cena's gonna be on their side, and then probably I'll take it a step further. At some point, I bet you Charlize Theron is going to end up being an ally at some point to take on a larger villain. I bet you. I promise.
It's like that gets played out.
And I love that franchise. Don't get me wrong, but if it's anything that's
the only issue
bums me about that, because I'm like, okay, so no one is an antagonist. At some point, they're going to all be good guys. Like you're going to forgive all the things that they have done. They still have yet to make up for what is it? Shaw killing Han.
Well, that's the thing, though. Maybe that's.
I'm sorry, that's a spoiler, but it's been out for a couple of years, y'all.
Or maybe they're gonna explain, like, oh, maybe he knew that he wasn't really. I don't know. Maybe they're gonna somehow. Maybe that's why. I don't know.
I guess. I don't know.
That's what I'm saying. Well, that's the issue that's the problem when you're just continuing to tell a story in sequels and we're not seeing everything, but we're thinking that because we saw what happened because we're the audience. But if the characters have some other side, if the filmmakers need to put in the following sequel, oh, this is why they were feeling that, then to me, that, like I said, that kind of cheapens. It's like, all right, well, we felt this way because of that. Like, you got to have some sort of, like, you got to earn that. And also you have to have, I feel like, You have to
But
have those Easter eggs.
but
You
it
have to
takes
support
something
that
out
later.
of it. Like I said, it
Exactly.
takes away like those stakes, because if you keep bringing
Yeah.
people back, you're never going to really take it seriously as someone, is taken out or bites the bullet, because you're like, oh, okay, they'll come back at some point. Same thing that goes with the villains. You're like, okay, what's the point of me caring about this person being a villain? Because y'all gonna bring him back, and y'all are gonna like forgive everything that he did. It doesn't matter how despicable they are. Like they're gonna, end up being on your team at some point. So I don't know.
Yeah.
Hopefully they find a way to, like I said, one thing I hope they find a way to have the Han thing, even if it is crazy and ridiculous, they're able to explain it somehow. That I
Just a
can kind of,
satisfying
just to
explanation.
satisfy, because I'm
Something
like that
satisfying.
whole Shaw thing with him and Shaw, like
Yeah.
and don't get me wrong, like I think the Shaw character is awesome, but
Why is he gonna team up? Yeah.
but based on how he became a part of that team, I was gonna say, depending on based on how he became a part of that team, I still have yet to feel like they have adequately made it okay for him to be a part of that team and to be all like buddied up with them after killing one of the member of their team. Even though we know he's come back, I'm just saying, just in general, just the idea that prior to that, he had essentially taken that character out of the equation. So,
I know.
but with that being said, guys, that's going to wrap up this edition of This Week in Review. As always, I'm your host, Brandon Choi, host and co-creator of Movies and Shakers Unlimited. And as always, I'm joined by
Jerome Bourgeois, co-creator, Moves and Shakers Unlimited. And yeah, thanks for watching, guys. Definitely remember to like us, subscribe to our channel, Mover Shakers Unlimited on YouTube. We're on Instagram, Mover Shakers Unlimited. Move in Shake UNLTD on Twitter. You can follow me on Twitter, saying Liam Productions, and on Instagram, Liam Productions 21. And yeah, we'll see you next week.
All right, yes. And you can find me at Brandon Troy ENT on Twitter. And Brandon Troy _ENT on Instagram. So again, thank you guys so much for watching. Be safe out there, guys. And as always, see you soon. Move and shake, y'all.
Yeah.